We start to the bottom right-hand side of the map. It is our green Terran player. Give it up if you're going to be cheering on InZaNe, who I'm not sure if he's still part of EC Visualize right now. It's actually been a very long time since I've cast this guy, and this is a player who you may not be so familiar with if you're not, say, kind of a big StarCraft fan, if you don't follow the scene super in-depth, because InZaNe is not someone who has big runs through WCS tournaments or anything like that. He's a very high-level GM player who is just that level below sort of Challenger League and really kind of making an impact in big online cups as well. And I don't think he's been playing as much recently, so it will be interesting to see what he did here, what he does here today. I think most famously, he's probably known for his DreamHack performance at DreamHack Leipzig last year. In the first group stage, he took down heavy favorite Wardy in the winners match of the group, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty shocked, and I think he was too, to pull off such an upset at such a huge event. But no, I mean, he's the sort of player you expect to be kind of high up in GM, top 100 or so, maybe a bit higher. I don't know how the GM ranks work right now, but like I mentioned, he's not been around for a while, so maybe he's been taking a little bit of a break. It'll be interesting to again just see what he's going to be going for here. So setting up, this is InZaNe to the bottom right hand side of the map. A German player as well, just in case that's, again, you don't know much about him and you want to know just that little bit more. Down to the bottom left-hand side, also morphing in his orbital command center. It is going to be our blue Terran player from Storm Gaming. Give it up if you're going to be cheering on GuMiho. Obviously, probably one of the favorites for this group. Why does this thing keep happening? One of the favorites for this group. And as we see the orbital command finishing up, we'll see a factory starting to build. GuMiho's build going to be the expansion, though, down to the low ground, whereas the double gas from InZaNe is going to be that kind of rushed up factory and barracks. Oh, well, factory and Reaper. Oh, no, sorry, a Marine. I thought it was going to be a Marine. Oh, Reaper. Going to move the barracks away from the tech lab then, and that will be most likely for the starport. Start building that up in the very near future, and just kind of keep his production going nicely. Go straight into either Cloak Banshee or Raven. He will build the initial Hellion on the factory. I mean, he's only got one Marine out, which is immediately much weaker than the Reaper, right? So it is nice for him to be able to get up the Hellion just as an extra form of defense rather than trying to be a bit greedy and rushing straight into a Cyclone or anything, which he could do. I mean, he's got the gas for that. And he probably will still make a Cyclone at some point here because it really is the all-around super defensive sort of unit. He's going to make a Widowmine, actually. That sort of works too. I mean, it's a different approach. No, cancels the Widowmine, does go Cyclone. It's the all-around defensive unit for the early stages of the TvT. So with that said, I think we'll be seeing kind of, again, pretty standard stuff from InZaNe. Goes Cloak Banshee alongside it. And again, this first Hellion is just to make sure he's nice and secure in case GuMiho had gone like a double Reaper Cyclone build, because then he would be able to apply a bit of pressure, and that Hellion would have been quite important just to poke away at that and just to try and keep it all pinned back wherever possible. Banshee on the way out then, as we've been alluding to, that Cloak is on the way up, and a Cyclone just popping out to the left-hand side, and a few more Marines are starting to come out as well. Everything joining together in the main base, just allowing InZaNe to really kind of set up here initially. Reaper from GuMiho starting to scatter around. This Hellion is going to get back from InZaNe, and again, with the Cyclone out, you're almost indestructible unless your opponent brings a Cyclone across the map too. Cyclones are pretty good units, man. As he's going to lose the Hellion? No, wow, just doesn't lose it though, and that's very close. The Marine's in good position. As GuMiho gets a full scout, though, I mean, he's going to see the Cloak Banshee, which is a good, a good little bit of information to begin with. Although there's Banshee coming across the map, there is a Viking on the way out. I guess he'll have Scan's engineering base still building. Looks as though GuMiho obviously looking to apply the pressure, and it could work out quite nicely if he is across the map and the Banshee isn't at home or in the right position. This kind of drop of Marines and the Cyclone running up the ramp at the same time or something could get quite a lot done, so we'll see how that develops in the next few moments. An SCV repairing up the Hellion just to the side of this base. And again, there's the Raven on the way out from InZaNe as well, so still just building up into this, seeing what he can do. This first Banshee hasn't found much just yet, so unfortunately for InZaNe, again, much value out of this is, where's the Cyclone? Did he get the Cyclone back? Probably did. 5 SCVs go down though. GuMiho just a nice little bit of a play there. Again, just jumps into the main, does a bit of damage, and considering he is the player with an expansion, considering InZaNe is the one who went more aggressively here in the early stages, it's obviously very, very, very good for GuMiho to be the one doing more damage. And a little bit strange as well, but he's just been so well set up against this. You know, he's seen what it was, he's got a good scout off, and he's been able to respond in the right way, which is just to leave the bare minimum at home to deflect this Banshee. And of course then he can just use those Marines across the map to do the damage which he has done. So we'll see the Banshee getting cleaned out. I mean, it's a bit odd to see a Banshee nowadays. It's something that's a little bit more kind of old school, I suppose, in the matchup. Very simply because the Ravens are just so powerful nowadays that we expect to see them so much more often. There's a very standard switchover, by the way, though, on the starport and the barracks. The barracks go into the tech lab, and the starport to the reactor, just going to allow him to start up his stim pack as well as Viking production. So basically it just gives InZaNe everything he needs in the earlier stages of this game to just be a little bit aggressive while still building up in towards his mid-game setup. And I wouldn't be surprised to some extent if InZaNe decided to try and move across the map a bit here. You know, he's got a couple of tanks, he's got a good amount of Marines, he's got the Ravens and soon to be Vikings. And if he could get a good siege position, like on the low ground, a couple of tanks here or something, or over there is a bit safer so he's not near the high ground, then he could definitely apply a lot of pressure into the natural expansion, but he is not moving across. In fact, I'm very surprised to see GuMiho moving across with this army. The triple cyclone, I mean, is powerful, but, well, you know what, it might just work out because of the fact that InZaNe currently has a tank position in the main, and his Ravens are completely out of position, which is a pretty huge deal. Oh wow, those SCVs are getting a little bit trapped in. SCVs do lower. GuMiho in a little bit of panic mode, trying to clean this up. 6 workers lost for him. He's going to go up this ramp. I mean, there's the auto turret to do a little bit of tanking initially. Triple cyclone, you will realize here, does a lot of DPS. And because the second tank is on the high ground, it doesn't look as though InZaNe has enough to hold over here. I thought this was a really weird push by GuMiho. I really did. And I think if the Ravens are together with this army, I think if there's another tank is not on the high ground and on the low ground, he defends this very easily. But as it stands, yeah, let's get game number 2 underway. Again, sorry for the delays. This was on my end here. I'm just trying to relog. Didn't go so well. I mean, what can I say? Some days StarCraft just doesn't love me. The latest patch apparently has been causing some issues. I'm not sure if they've been rectified just yet or not. As we do kick off to the top left-hand side of Cactus Valley, our green Terran player. It's InZaNe. Is the game super quiet all of a sudden? All of a sudden, I can't hear any game sounds. I think that's a bit better. Alright, so we set up into this. We're going to see this refinery just finishing off to the side to begin with. And yeah, Rack's starting to build up here to just get this rolling. So, and again, I wouldn't say anything too surprising so far. Nothing really too ridiculous, too crazy. It's just some very basic kind of early game TvT. We're actually going to see a rotation and a switch around in terms of build orders here in game number 2 right now, where InZaNe will be the player to expand a little bit more quickly with just the single gas on the way up, and GuMiho will be the player to apply pressure off of one base, taking the double gas very early on. We'll be looking to go into that factory, and much more normally would be a Reaper to come out of this barracks as well, so we'll see if he wants to go for that or what exactly his plan is. Immediately does morph in the orbital, and there is the factory coming down just afterwards, so Reaper factory on the way. And again, we'll see if GuMiho will be a bit more successful with his one base opener compared to how successful InZaNe was, which unfortunately just wasn't too great for him back in that first game on Newkirk Precinct. Now you do see a Reaper building up here from both players. Obviously, InZaNe wants a Reaper when you expand in like this quickly. A Reaper is a good way to kind of pick up information, get some scouting, and to stay just in general safe against your opponent too. The question is, does he go into a reactor? And he does go into a reactor. Because sometimes you want to go in towards a second Reaper as well, which is something you can do too. So Reaper will scout around. He's about to find his opponent bottom right with this SCV. He already has found him bottom right. Oh no, he didn't. Oh, I wonder why he thinks it's bottom left then. Huh. Okay. I guess he just wanted. Maybe he just wanted to pull the SCV away in time to kind of save it from the Reaper, but then it doesn't really make sense, obviously, because the SCV could have turned away like after he got to the top right base. A little bit strange, as we do see that Reaper just going to pop back in towards the natural. GuMiho going to try and harass you, and if you can pick up this SCV as well, that would be 2 SCV kills, and it would be a delayed CC too, and it actually is already delaying the CC as the SCV pulls away to try and help out. So InZaNe, not the best couple of moments for him right there, as you are just going to see. Again, the CC just finishing up, and Starport on the way down also. Obviously, Starport already in play from GuMiho, another Cloak Banshee opener. It's kind of strange, because I do feel as though we've not seen too many Cloak Banshee openings recently in the TvT matchup. There's the 2 Reapers and the Helene just going to keep on working their way through this orbital on the natural. You're going to see the Starport going to swap to the tech lab, the Barracks 2 going to reposition itself. this Hellion also going forwards here as the grenade goes down. We just pull it away nicely. Again, those Hellions just repositioning themselves slightly too. Still just working their way through this CC. I mean, it's not so much that's taking the beat, it's the fact he can't build SCVs off of it, and so he's basically been delayed from taking the advantage that he should be getting from an earlier expand like this. So that's really nice for GuMiho, just slowing things down. He does lose his units though. Maybe not quite expecting the reacted Hellions out of InZaNe, which is something a little bit different. It could be alluding towards some sort of mech-based play rather than the bio. You know, if he wants to go in towards mech, then a few Hellions early is obviously going to help him towards that point, more so than Marines, and it will just synergize a little bit better. So that's a possibility. Is now going to see. Well, you know what? GuMiho just gets the Cyclone out in time because, man, this is pretty close. Like, this Cyclone was not here a couple seconds ago. 2 Hellions for 2 Marines, not really worthwhile though. I mean, I guess he delays the SCV coming back down to the low ground. Scans into the main, sees the tech lab, but well, he's got a Raven, but he doesn't have any anti-air in position just yet. So this first Cloak Banshee is going to be a little bit of a nuisance. He does have an auto turret, of course, which you kind of throw down. Auto turrets do a lot of damage, but obviously the slight issue is that they're immobile. So once they're placed, they can't get anywhere else. 4 workers killed so far. I mean, it is GuMiho who has to do damage, and killing 6-7 workers. Well, now it's getting to this point where he's a little bit further ahead than he should be. So 24 workers, 23 workers, and this is really starting to go the way of GuMiho indeed. This last mule goes down, very fresh mule as well. And InZaNe comes out of this, 9 workers down. There's this Reaper in the natural as well, which is picking off an SCV or 2. And while InZaNe cleans up, again, he's very far behind the work count, and being behind the work count is not really something that's going to be too great for him right here, as we see 2 Cyclones and well, just a little bit of a fight altogether right now. Cyclone's going to fight, but the Banshee's going to really help out in the skies, and 2 Cyclones remain now for GuMiho. That is actually huge. He's going to be able to lock onto the Raven. He's going to be able to push that way. He's actually only got 1 of these Cyclones locked on. You can see the auto turret dropping down. Does that pick up the kill? Not quite. GuMiho still has this Banshee, as he will just sneak into the side of the base. Viking will land as well, try and help out. The Raven obviously right now will not really add too much else, and you can just see the damage output of these Cyclones, man. They are just destroying everything. Like, no matter what, like everything just keeps on dying. 2 more Marines arrive. Cyclone pulling back yet again. The Viking has to stay in the sky to get rid of the Banshee. Now I could try to land, but I'm not sure if that's even really a great idea against these Cyclones and Marines. Another Cyclone comes in from the south side, and no, SCV is still being beat on up. The Cyclone full of health is going to take on the Viking and will be very successful. Another 15 workers killed. And GuMiho, just with stellar early game, once again is going to be able to maybe not quite close it out here, maybe not quite win things, but he is going to put himself in a very good position. So that's going to be GG. And that's going to be GuMiho taking the game number 2. And our first series